Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. Let's get started with our hosts, Linda McKissack and Dana Gentry.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Always worry you're going to forget who you are, Dana. you pause and you make me nervous.
You just took a drink, and so I was like, oh gosh, she's not going to be able to talk.
That's so funny. That's funny. Well, good morning, everyone. We're super excited. Dana and I have one of our favorite people,
Yes.
Miss Pam Bornhorst.
Good morning.
I think you added a few digits of light to our life when you came into it, Pam.
Oh, well, the same feeling for me, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Dana, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like that was just yesterday, and then sometimes I feel like that was like 10 years ago.
It was like 4 years ago in February.
Yeah, wow. That's
A
wild.
lot's happened in 4 years.
Yes,
It's
it has.
crazy. Yes, it has.
So I have to say, I'm so proud of Pam. I'm so proud of Pam because she's such a great student and achiever. And I tell everybody, there's no greater joy for me to meet someone who is an amazing person when I meet them, bring them into our world, and then just watch them flourish. And Pam is probably one of the greatest stories I know of that.
Oh, thank you, Linda. Thank you. I feel like I could have not done it without both of you.
Pam is the one who we say we just wish we had like 20 more Pams.
Yes, you do.
You know, I wish I had a couple right now.
You know what? That means you're on the right path.
Yeah.
I remember when we were getting Pam launched, though, I would be in San Diego sometimes, which is even an hour earlier than where I am today, which is Mountain Time. It would be Pacific Time, and about 3 a.m. my phone would ring, ding, and it would be Pam.
I was awful. I didn't even realize everybody was not on my Eastern time zone.
No, that's okay. And then so I would ding my team and say, "Pam's up, everybody up."
I was so bad. I had so many questions.
We love it. We loved it. We loved it. We loved it.
Now look at you today, though.
Yeah.
So I love it. Well, okay, I'll kick us off because Pam had messaged Linda and I, and we had been talking about end of the year reviews. And Pam was going to work on some end of the year reviews with some of the people that she leads. And so I said, hey, why don't we just do one with you live on the podcast? And Pam's like, well, how much can I share? So we thought it would be good to kind of walk through an end of the year review. And Pam, for you to share with us kind of what goals you had for last year, what you accomplished, what maybe you didn't hit that you need to move over. And then we can talk a little bit about even goal setting and some of Gary's questions too, if we have time, Linda.
Yeah, and I was thinking Gary's questions might be a little bit deep, and we definitely need to give somebody heads up before we ask them.
That's when I said I need the cheat sheet.
Yeah.
But I do have some questions, because I know you're going to do this with your team. I do have some questions that I got from Gary years ago when he was coaching me, and I'll be sure and share those with you also.
Okay, great. Well, I wanted a year in review because I just really respect your guys' knowledge on how to do a great year in review. So I've been doing them with my agents, and I love it. I love just sitting down and talking about how their year was and what more I can do to help them and what their plans are for next year. And so I thought, I could use a year in review. So I'm going to call Linda and Dana and see if they would give me one. So that's how this started.
Well, that's a great way to learn too. Also, I think is for you to go through something yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay, Pam, kick us off with, share with us some of what your major goals were for last year.
My major goals were volume-wise and personal with my own personal team. Just to at least do the 20 million. I like to at least stay right around there. For volume, my average sales price is usually fairly high. It's like 369. Yeah, 360 is my average sales price. So I did about 60 units and ended up doing like over 21 million. So for me, myself and my team, that's great. So I was like right on target for what I wanted to do that way. My biggest goals have shifted. So now my larger goals are always not really so much about myself and my personal goals, but I still need to do that because that's important for my team, but for all my agents. So, we started here with like 8 agents, and we are, I think off of my branch, I have like 57 now. So, I mean, I would definitely like to make that number bigger. So that's my goal.
That is incredible.
It's amazing.
So yeah, we're doing good. Our market share is very important to me. So as far as our office, our market share is like, we did our small little group did 87 million last year in Miami County. That doesn't include all my agents in Shelby County. So we have almost a 14% market share.
Wow.
So that's wonderful. So I can't say that I'm not super pleased with that. We've definitely lost, I hope this is an okay time to talk about this, but we've lost quite a few really super great agents to these companies that are coming in with the $5,000 cap.
Yeah.
So I would say, those are heartaches every time, how that is.
Well, and it's a heartache every time you lose an agent to anyone. And Dana and I both have been through this. But I will tell you, we've also been on the other side. And when they come back, it's a beautiful thing too.
Yeah.
And some of them will and some of them won't. People do things for their reasons. And our dreams and our goals have to be so much bigger than one person or 2 people or 5 people who leave us. However, I always say, you always leave that door open, and you might be surprised, because I think so many people can believe that that leadership doesn't matter and community doesn't matter.
Right.
And I think you give some of those people time to go out and figure out that it actually really does.
It does. Yes.
And so, you just always leave that door open. But it always breaks your heart.
Right. I'm leaving that door open for the ones I want back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys, I just heard Mark Willis say something that I thought was so good. He said, moving into this year, this is not the time in history for agents to isolate themselves or to be in it with a brokerage that's like a
right,
almost like a landlord tenant type relationship. It's not the time in our industry and in our market to isolate yourself as an agent. Just like Linda said, the community part of it is so important. And Pam, I love that you said your goals shifted from not as much about your personal stuff, but to about the agents that you lead, because that's a sign of a great leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the more that you can have goals for them, because I was thinking this morning, I was actually talking to Adam about this, and we were talking about somebody, and anyway, it came up, and I said, I just always remember the Jack Welch thing that he says, great leaders tell people 3 things: where they're going, why they're going there, and what's in it for them. Yeah. And you do a good job of that with your agents. And so you just have to stay on that.
Right.
I did have a question on the market share goal, though, really quickly. At 14% is so awesome. Are you going to set a market share goal for this year, though? Like, how are you going to?
I haven't sat down and said market share goal. My volume goal, though, is to, bump that up, which means recruiting, getting more agents. So, we did 87 million last year. We came in our first year probably at 30, 40. So we've doubled our market. Mm-hmm. We've doubled our volume within 4 years. So realistically, I would love to hit that 100 million. My Miami County share, we're probably, almost 95 actually, if I counted my Shelby County, because I have a couple agents up there that are doing 8 and 9 million a year. So super proud of them. They came in doing 3, and now she did 8, 9 this year. So
doing amazing. Yeah.
That's my goal, is to keep my agents moving upward. And I feel like with the people I've left, my goal right now, that's why I wanted to go through this. My goal right now is how and do I give all of my agents that are here, my experienced agents that are loyal, that actually value what Keller Williams offers, our culture, our community, how do I keep them engaged and keep helping them grow and understanding the value of Keller Williams?
Mm-hmm. I think people do things for their reasons. They never do them for any other thing. And people do make decisions on emotion and then justify later with logic. So I always think the best thing you can do is keep them looking at their own goals.
Okay.
Focus on what's in it for them. That's because the truth is that's the only thing that drives them.
Right.
They're committed to who they want to be in the future.
Right.
The hardest part about what all three of us do is we see potential in people that sometimes they don't see in themselves.
Yep.
And so that's very frustrating.
Yeah.
There is nothing you can do about that. You cannot motivate someone who is not motivated. And what you can do is, help them remind them what's in it for them, what's it going to do for them, how their life's going to change, what they want their future self to look like, all of those things.
Yeah.
And then help them see how to get there,
Right.
if this is the goals or ask them what's changed about that, because sometimes it hasn't changed. They've just started looking the other direction.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I love what Kellyanne Harris said. I don't know. I think you guys probably follow her, correct?
Yeah.
Anyway, she was just saying, because I was listening to her the other day. I like listening to her. She's exciting.
Yeah.
She was just saying that, if your only concern is looking for the shiny, bright new thing, then we might not be that fit. And I love that. And I have probably played that like 20 times this week to myself, because I think that is so important to know that that is so true.
Yeah.
So I'm really on my year-end reviews. The main thing I'm trying to get across to all of my agents is, where you are now, but what can I do to help you continue to grow? And I'm actually giving them ideas. Like, one of their homeworks is to listen to you guys every week.
Nice.
I'm like, 30 minutes a week.
No
You
pressure,
listen
Dana.
to Linda and Dana 30 minutes a week.
No pressure.
You stay motivated. So everyone has had that homework. So hopefully they will listen to me. And then from there, it's more like listening to what they're doing to get where they're at, and then helping them. I have a lot of questions like, do you pay for leads?
Yeah.
So, you're going to hear agents do that. And what I tell them is, I'm not going to tell you not to pay for leads, but I can show you different ways of getting leads. And so that's usually how I get into the warm calls, or, setting your calendar with 2 hours each morning of lead gen. And lead gen doesn't mean you have to cold call. There's so many ways of lead generation. So I try to help them and give them ideas of how to grow their business. And the number one is to meet with people. I mean, open houses right now, I'm telling agents, we're at a whole different market where you can actually go to an open house right now and people are coming to you that are interested in buying a house. Yeah. So I'm giving them a lot of that advice that over the years has helped me in order to try to help them grow.
Yeah. I think that's great, Pam. And one thing I would say too is most agents love to be with who has the most market share and or who is like on that quick trajectory for market share. So when you said something that made me think, when we launched my Kentucky office, the Richmond office, our goal was to get to number one market share. And we did that in 2 years, like pretty quick, which was awesome. And so from then on out, the goal has always been to be double what the second brokerage was. And that's something that I learned from Gary. So I think if you can rally your agents around like, hey, we want to get to the goal is to get to number one market share, stay number one, but then we need to be double whoever number two.
We are. The next closest is 47. So we're 87. So we're close to that. So, and we've had that for a couple years. So we just have to keep it and to grow it.
Yeah, totally.
And I would say one of the best things that I've learned as a leader that's been a huge shift over the years for me is to learn to ask questions. People don't do what we tell them. You can have the greatest ideas in the world, but until that person feels like it's their idea, they probably won't move on it. It's so funny. I feel like now there's certain people that I can tell something and I can tell by looking at their face, they have no intention of doing it. Right. It's that. But the better questions are getting them to self-discover, what were your goals? And, when you get those goals, what are those going to do for you? Let's let them visualize some of the things, maybe they have a daughter or kid that wants to go to Disney. you know, helping them connect, because it gets so old and so dreary just to go try to find another lead and do this or that. But when you start tying it to a Disney trip for your kids or whatever, so I would say get some really great questions and then let silence do the heavy lifting.
Okay.
Be very comfortable with very long pauses. And then I think about the mineral rights conversation in Fierce Conversation, where they say, even when it's uncomfortable, you ask another question and you ask another question, almost to the point where you can't stand it. And then only at the very, very end are you allowed to give any advice. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I think we feel good that we've delivered advice to them, but when we understand that the real golden nuggets is them either answering or thinking up something themselves, because that's when they're more inclined to take action on it. So I would say just really drill down with great questions.
Okay.
Because they're going to move because that goal is important to them, but they forget what that goal is actually. It's never the number goal. It's what's that number goal going to do for you?
Right.
Is it an extra vacation? Is it a new car you want? Is it your new house you've been waiting for? Get them all the way to that level.
Okay.
And then I think, and then Linda, don't forget, you need to get them in a negative mindset at some point and then bring them back. So like, if they don't achieve that, how would that make them feel? Or like they feel, because you do need them to feel a little bit of the pain. Like for you, we would say, gosh, what if you dropped to number 2 market share next year? How would that make you feel? you know?
Yeah.
Not good.
I'm crying already. We are not letting that happen.
No, not. I've been like restudying. I've read the Be Your Future Self by Ben Hardy. I listened to it, then I read it. Now I'm like actually studying it, like notes in the book, highlighting. I mean, there is so much good stuff in there. And this morning, the part that I was reading said most salespeople act as if they want it, not as if they already have it. And he talks in the book about how, like, when you get to a mindset of it's already mine, like, I know it's going to happen. It's a totally that you act different. Like you act like not a salesperson. You know, I mean, you act like mine.
You act like a person that has the discipline and habits to have it.
That's right.
Right. Okay. Great.
And I think a lot of our salespeople need to be reminded of that too, because a lot of them are, walking around with, what did they say, like commission breath or whatever, and not thinking about that it's already theirs, because they're so tied to their future self and where they want to be in 5 years or 10 years that they know that it's already theirs. They have to have it, or because they're not going to hit their goals if they don't. And I think there's so much in that. And I was looking back through my notes. Remember, John Maxwell always tells us that everybody needs a personal definition of success. And it's kind of the same thing. I think when you're doing these end of the year reviews, it's like, what about that? What about the year led you more towards who you are, your personal definition of success? Like what is that for you? And did you get more towards that, or did you not? And if you didn't, what kept you from that? And how does that make you feel? And then what do you need to change moving into next year? Because I think so many agents have been in such a speed-based market over the last couple of years that the biggest change is they've got to get to the skill.
Yeah.
And some of them don't even know that. They don't even know how to do a listing presentation because they haven't had to.
Right. Exactly. Because, we have a lot of my agents are coming in that haven't had the year they're used to.
Yeah.
So, we have a lot of that going on. And I do think that's when I try to turn it around to some of the skill-based stuff that we need to like really drive home to them.
Mm-hmm. And you could do more classes in that area.
We're starting a new thing called fundamentals.
Yeah.
And, so we're going to have it like every week. I'm a big, I will do Saturday classes because, we do have people that work and I like to work anyway. So we've been having Saturday career mornings with coffee, and we've been having Saturday classes, which are fundamental: how to write an offer, how to do a listing, how to price a house. So I think that doing Saturdays, a lot of them can actually come that have another job. And I don't tell people not to have another job. I think it's a good lead source.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we have been doing, and I think they're enjoying that.
I love you could, because right now, everything that's old is new again. The 70s clothes are back, the 80s clothes are back, and so are the fundamentals, you know?
Yep.
So I think that's great.
Fundamentals, that's what we're doing, the basics, especially now that contingencies are back. Well, the people that have been in it the last 4 or 5 years, they don't even know what to do.
True.
They have
Yeah.
no idea how to write one.
Yeah.
You know, I was teaching Quantum Leap in Indianapolis, and one of the lenders came up to me that's been one of our lenders since we first opened that office. And she was saying, you would not believe the agents that think it's a terrible thing. She was talking to them about, what was it, buy downs maybe, or something, some program that they had.
Yeah.
And the agent said, oh, I could never do that. I could never offer that. And we were like, oh my gosh,
They don't know how.
Don't know how. Yeah.
And it's, you know, they get a fixed view on it, and then they realize they're not going to do it. And that's just hurting their clients.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
So
one more thing I think is really important for year-end reviews too is to hit on the personal growth aspect. So like, what did they do this year that they invested in themselves, personal growth wise, and what's their on their growth plan for next year? Like, how many events are they getting to family reunion? Are they, you know, are they getting a coach? Are they like, what are they doing personally for their growth plan for next year? And what did they do this past year? And do they need to do more of that?
okay.
Because I think, especially just when talking about the skill-based market, made me think of that. I just think the more, I know, the more that you invest in yourself personally, the more success that you're going to have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, what are they motivated by? Some people are motivated by fear, and some are motivated by trinkets. But, you know, they may think that they're motivated by a trinket, but when you really drill down, they're actually motivated by fear.
Okay.
You know, so which one, how do you use that to now motivate yourself? You know, just for some people, they have to commit to another person because they're more responsible to the other person. But helping them just kind of think through, when is a time that you just absolutely would not let yourself not hit that? Was it a time that you had a friend that you were committed to because of it? I always say I could never have ran my marathon without my partner that I had to be accountable to, because she would be at the end of the block at 5 a.m. in the morning. You know, so helping them kind of learn. I used to think I was motivated by like things, but I'm not. I'm actually more motivated by fear. So I got to figure out, you know, what is those little fear things I can say to myself or think of that, you know, that would actually motivate me to get it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fear of letting somebody else down is one of them.
Right.
And I would also, on the flip side of that, what gives them energy? Like, what did they do in 2023 that gave them energy?
Okay.
And then have, you know, I mean, you could even ask yourself that, but like, what were some of the things that you did that gave you energy? And then same thing for that. And then also, who gave you energy? Like, that's a huge one that I'm asking myself, right? I have in my reflection time for last year was, who was I around that gave me energy and who didn't give me energy?
Yeah.
I love that because it's so true. Certain people keep you going.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm going to give you the questions that Gary always asks as a coach.
I'm ready.
What were your goals? How'd you do? How do you feel about that? Based on that, what do you think you need to do now? And if there was one thing I could do to help you, what would that be? And long pauses in between all of those would be super helpful because they need to think and reflect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can't write that fast, so you're going to have to send those to me.
I'll send them to you. I'll text them to you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because I have like 3 agent reviews tomorrow, and they're like top hitters. So I'm glad we did this today.
Yeah.
Linda, say them one more time, because I'm going to we'll put them in our chat, in our notes.
Okay. What were your goals?
Yep.
How did you do? How do you feel about that?
Which is a huge one.
What do you think you need to do now? And if there was one thing that I could do to help you, what would that be?
And I actually love that he's always said, just what's one thing I can do to help you.
Yeah.
I love that too, because I love that. And you mean that,
Yeah.
what can I do to help you? So, and
otherwise we're trying to help them in a way that maybe they don't feel like they need, this
Right.
way it puts it on them
Right.
to explain exactly how they need help.
Right. I love the one thing because it doesn't make it so general. Like, what's one thing that would help you the most? Yeah, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Love it. Those are so good. Super good.
Okay.
Well, hopefully this was helpful. We didn't even need to ask about your personal goals because
they're always more. I have a lot of goals.
Have we had you read Gap in the Gain? That might be your next read.
Love it.
I love it too.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. I've read it. I try to share it with everybody. I'm trying to read a new one now that Brandy was telling me about, Becoming More.
Oh, Diana's book.
That's
Yes.
Diana's book. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah,
I'm
that's awesome.
getting ready to start that one. She said it was wonderful.
That's so good.
So
It is
Diana
very
will love
good.
hearing that.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. So I'm gonna start that one. I just got it yesterday. So
All right. Well,
that's
ladies.
gonna be my new read.
All
Awesome.
right, ladies, let's kick booty in
Thanks.
2024.
Yes.
Great.
If you have not,
Thanks for sharing with me.
you're welcome. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that now. And remember, the greatest compliment you can pass along is to pass this podcast along to anyone that you think would benefit from these conversations. If you have a challenge, an opportunity, or a topic or a guest that you'd like featured on the podcast, be sure and reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate. And Dana and Pam, I'll see you guys soon.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.